Welcome to Haker Equipment Company. We are a municipal equipment dealership. We have two locations, one in the city of Laverne, covering Southern California, and one in Las Vegas that covers the Southern Nevada area. We represent Vactor with their 2100 plus sewer cleaning model, the HXX hydro excavator. Vactor builds equipment that will clean or dig with the use of high pressure water and air conveyance. Vactor 2100 plus hose reel. Hello, my name is Kerry Alcott. Today's class is part of a series of classes on different areas of the Vactor Plus model. The hose reel comes in different configurations. The standard hose reel capacity is 800 feet, and there is an optional 1,000 foot hose reel. The hose reel extends out from the front bumper 18 inches and rotates side to side 270 degrees. When you need information or when ordering any parts for your Vactor, we research your request by the serial number found on the Vactor ID plate. It is mounted on older Vactors up by the boom pivot on the right-hand side of the vehicle next to the hydraulic oil sight glass. On newer models, the ID plate is mounted on the left side body frame rail towards the front. The Vactor hose reel can be extended forward from the bumper a full 18 inches and rotated side to side 270 degrees. There are controls on the back side of the hose reel so the operator is not wedged between the hose reel and the bumper when the reel is rotated to the left side of the truck. This is to help keep the operator safe by operating in the confines of the truck width and out of traffic lanes. The hose reel must be turned back to its original position and brought back to the bumper before leaving the work site. If the hose reel is left extended, it will be out further than 3 feet from the front bumper, and the operator would be liable for a ticket. At the operator station, there are all the controls to operate the Vactor, except for dumping. The auto level wind is an option. This will guide the hose back onto the hose reel, keeping the wraps even and tight. Standard is a manual level wind that the operator would have to control to wrap the hose back on evenly. The advantage of the auto level wind is less fatigue on the operator, and he or she can pay more attention on what they're doing in the line they're cleaning. Always pay hose off and back on the reel in line with the pipe in the ground, either forward or under the hose reel. We want the reel to pull the hose back, not the level wind. IntelliView. The IntelliView is a display of information for the operator like engine RPMs, flow meter, engine oil and water gauges, all warning devices, and is a central diagnostic screen for the mechanics. Please see the video titled Vactor 2100 Plus IntelliView, part of a series of training classes for the 2100 Plus model. On the front upper control box, you will find the pump mode selector switch. Pump mode, low, medium, and high. Low, used for handgun washdown or hydro excavation. Only PTO-A is active, will provide 20 gallons a minute at a maximum of 1100 RPMs. Mid, used for cleaning small lines, will engage PTO-B and provide 60 gallons a minute at a maximum of 1175 RPM. High, used for large line cleaning and optional body washout at a maximum of 1575 RPM. Both PTOs A and B are active. The mode switch sets throttle speed range. When the blower is engaged, blower speed overrides mode speed range on PD units. PTOB turns off after about 3 minutes if the rotor pump is not used. Toggle the pump mode switch to low to reset. Hose reel extend and retract switch. For moving the hose reel away and back to the bumper. Optional work lights. Some examples are hose reel work light, boom work lights, and side work lights. The digital footage counter is an option. The footage counter reset switch is used to set the counter to 0 at the start of a run. The IntelliView screen displays the digital footage counter. The ABS, absolute, is a consistent number from the start of power on. The REL, relative, is the resettable number that you can set to 0 once you have the nozzle in the line with the footage counter reset switch. At the top of the IntelliView screen is the flow meter. A wireless remote control is an option and controls everything as the controls on the hose reel. In on position, this switch gives priority control to the wireless controller. In off position, the switch bypasses the wireless e-stop. Blower on-off switches are momentary push buttons. On engages the blower from the front. Off automatically lowers the engine RPMs and disengages the blower from the front. Actual operation may vary depending on the engine's configuration. The blower can only engage at low RPMs. The computer will automatically lower the RPMs before the blower is engaged. Some engines may only lower the RPMs and will require a second push to engage the blower. Blower on indicator indicates that the blower is turning at a speed greater than 6 RPMs. Lower electrical control box. Low water indicator. If equipped, this light provides a warning when the water level in the tank has dropped below the sensor. The sensor is normally in the front of the lower driver's side water tank. Flashes light and sounds optional alarm. 2 seconds on, 1 second off when active. Audible alarm will reset after 2 minutes. High oil temperature indicator. If equipped, indicates the temperature sender in the hydraulic tank has given a signal indicating that the oil temperature is too hot. At 180 degrees Fahrenheit, the light and the alarm will activate. Flashes the light and sounds the optional alarm. 1 second on, 1 second off when active. Audible alarm will reset after 2 minutes if silenced. At 200 degrees Fahrenheit, the light and the alarm will activate. Flashes lights and sounds optional alarm. 1 second on, 1 second off when active. Audible alarm will reset after 2 minutes if silenced. Load limit indicator. Indicates that the sender on the debris body level indicator has been triggered. Activates solid light and sounds optional alarm. 3 seconds on, 1 second off when active. Audible alarm will reset after 2 minutes. It will also activate vacuum relief, disable, but can be overridden. Vacuum relief open indicator. Indicates the vacuum relief valve has been opened and the vacuum is disabled. Vacuum enable disable. The vacuum relief valve. On a PD unit, the inlet to the blower is open to external air, providing a path of least resistance for air into the blower. This stops the flow of air from the debris body into the blower, and therefore stops the flow of air from the hose into the body. When the power is turned off, the spring return air solenoid defaults to the disabled position. Audible alarm silence. The switch is active in up or down position. Toggling the switch will silence the alarm until another item requests the alarm. Load limit, low water, high hydraulic oil temp. The alarm will sound continuously when more than one alarm is active. E-stop. The E-stop is for emergencies. When pushed in, it will turn off the rotor pump, turn off PTO-A and PTO-B, sets chassis throttle back to idle, disables vacuum, opens the vacuum relief. It does not shut off the engine. Doing so could do damage to the drivetrain. Throttle on and off. Enabling allows for remote throttle control and often disables the chassis throttle foot pedal. May be overridden by a higher priority message to the engine such as derate, high coolant temp, or other priority message. On some engines, puts the unit in a work mode and disables the 10-minute idle shutdown. Throttle up and down. Controls the engine speed from the master control panel. Operation dependent on chassis engine configuration. May be overridden by a higher priority message to the engine such as derate, high coolant temp, or other priority message. Holding the switch will ramp the RPM up or down. Toggling the switch will bump the RPM up or down. Rotor pump on-off. Activates the rotor pump. The water pressure control increases the pressure request of the hydraulic piston pump that powers the water circuit. In other words, increases the flow. Safety decals. Warning: explosion and fire hazard. To avoid severe injury or death, never use an air mover to move hydrocarbons or other materials with a flash point below 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Vacuuming, pumping, or pressure offloading is not permitted unless the flash point of the material is 140 degrees or higher. Warning: electrical hazard. Serious injury or death can result from electrocution. Check for overhead wires and obstructions before raising or moving the boom. Do not leave the boom raised while the vehicle is unattended. Do not move the vehicle unless the boom is in the travel mode. Do not allow the boom to contact vehicle or any obstructions. Be aware of the vehicle's surroundings before operating any of the boom functions to prevent death, injury, or equipment damage. Warning: do not operate jet rotor with damaged rotor hose, or rotor hose that is not authorized by Vactor manufacturing. Serious injury or death can result from rotor hose or fitting failure. Frequently inspect hose and fittings. Install fittings properly. Warning: loose hose or nozzle. Serious injury or death can result from high pressure water or impact from the hose or nozzle. Use a rigid support guard of proper length. Blower oil service. Check blower oil daily or the start of each shift. All blowers are equipped with at least one sight glass at each end of the blower. Depending on the blower configuration, the sight glasses may be located on either side or the end of the blower at each end, and there may also be an upper and lower sight glass. The oil level must be checked at both ends of the blower while the blower is off and on level ground. Caution: driveline can be damaged. Open vacuum relief valve. Lower engine RPM to idle before turning off throttle or disengaging blower. Failure to open the vacuum relief valve and lowering the engine RPM to idle before turning throttle or disengaging blower may result in serious engine, transmission, or blower damage. Water pressure. Maximum pressure 2000 psi or 2500 psi depending on the system. Warning: high pressure water. Serious injury or death can result from sudden release of high pressure water. The hose end and water discharge direction may become uncontrolled. One pressure side water valve must be open prior to operating the rotor pump. The rotor hose must be properly in place before running the rotor pump. Caution: noise outside cab can cause permanent hearing loss. Always wear approved hearing protection when operating equipment. 2100 series freezing weather drain procedure. Please note all items listed in drain checklist. To purge system. Number 1. Open handgun and rotor ball valves. Remove rotor nozzle and secure hose end to adjacent hose loop so reel can be rotated. Point hose end towards the ground as ice and water may be ejected while running rotor pump. Start engine and engage rotor pump for 2 minutes at slow speed to expel any water. Turn off rotor pump. Remove drain plugs from water pump or optional drain valves and engage water pump for 1 minute at slow speed to eject any water. Turn off rotor pump. Rotate hose reel in a clockwise direction to expel any water in the hose. Warning: out of control hose can cause severe injury or death. The rotor hose creates tremendous pressure and must not be fitted with a reducer or a handheld nozzle or operated outside of the sewer pipe. The back pressure created by such action will cause loss of control and violent movement of the hose and fitting, and the release of high pressure water. Do not use improper fittings or use out of sewer pipe. Rotor pump data displays gallons per minute and PSI. Rotor hose data displays the hose size and the working pressure. Vacuum gauge. The vacuum gauge is for reading the maximum vacuum. When the gauge reads 15 to 18 inches of mercury, the conical vacuum relief valves should open. If you see higher readings and the conical valves are not open, the blower can overheat and damage the blower. If this occurs, let your fleet maintenance mechanics know so the conical valves can be serviced. Water pressure gauge. This is the pressure from the water pump at the hose reel. Below the gauge is a decal indicating the maximum pressure of your system. Do not operate at pressures higher than the maximum. Hose reel water valve. The valve is a two-way ball valve with only 2 positions, rotor on and rotor off. This valve shuts off the water from the water pump to the rotor hose. Never shut this valve off while the rotor pump is on. Turn pump off before closing this or any ball valve. There should be 1 valve open in the system at all times, never all ball valves closed. Please watch the video 2100 plus water system for full explanation. Controls on the side of the lower control box. Boom controls. Boom extend retract switch. This control extends and retracts the boom. Boom joystick control. Controls the movement of the boom up, down, and left and right. Hose raise. On the 5x5 boom option, switch at the end of the joystick handle. Pressing the switch up is for hose raise and pressing the switch down is hose lower. Hose reel rotation controls. Hose reel rotation speed control. Controls the maximum speed to the hose reel motor. Hose reel pay out, pay in joystick. Pay in direction retracts the hose onto the reel. When rodding, Payout controls the hose as it's pulled along into the sewer line. Hose reel lock for rotation. The hose reel lock switch. Unlock, and by hand you can turn the hose reel to align with the manhole. The hose reel will rotate 270 degrees left to right. The pinch roller switch will release the air holding the pinch roller to the hose. The purpose of the pinch roller is to keep the hose tight on the reel if the hose in the line stops moving before the hose reel stops. A camera for aligning the truck to the manhole is available as an option. Tiger tail rope tie-off. Controls on the rear of the hose reel. The controls on the back side are for when the hose reel is rotated to the left, and so the operator is not standing between the bumper and the hose reel for safety. These controls put the operator back out in the front where there's plenty of room to move. Footage counter transducer. The footage counter transducer is for the digital footage counter option. In this picture you can see the pillow block bearing that is a monthly lube point. This is the standard footage counter, optional on the rear of the hose reel. Auto level wind guide. Lubrication points. One on the bottom of the hose roller guide block. One fitting on each end of the auto wind shaft end plate. Second fitting on the opposite shaft end plate. One on the back side of the hose roller guide block. One fitting on the handle. This handle is how you adjust the hose roller to align the wrap of the hose on the reel, called timing the hose. Hose reel turntable bearing. Hose reel turntable bearing lube fittings. The proper way to lube this bearing is to unlock and turn the hose reel all the way to the right. Then pump 2 shots of grease in the 2 fittings for that bearing. Now move the hose reel about 6 inches and grease the same 2 fittings again. Repeat this until the hose reel is all the way around to the left. Hose reel locks lube fittings. The hose reel locks only need 2 shots of grease each. Hose reel extend slide. There are lube points provided, top and bottom, on each side. Note, all grease fittings are monthly except for the 90-degree swivel not shown today. Each grease fitting gets 2 pumps of grease from a hand grease gun. Please see the video class, Combination Truck Maintenance. I would like to thank you for viewing this class. If you would like to make a comment or ask questions, you can email me at carrio@haker.com.